1, 2. Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. And I'm here today with my full in-depth review and some tips and tricks on the Boss RC-500 loop station. I can't remember a time I've had more questions and comments about a pedal. This thing is really sought after. I couldn't believe it. I mean, yeah, it's great and we're all stuck at home. We need loopers right now. Loopers are also great for practicing and jamming and all these things. But so many people are interested in this pedal. I'll cut to the chase. This is a fantastic pedal. There are a few things I've learned along the way which I'll share with you, and also a few things I feel could be added with firmware or a hardware revision in the future, and I'll be sharing that with you as well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. Ring the bell so you're notified when I go live. I often go live and perform with this pedal and other pedals. If I can get more subscribers, it really helps my channel a lot. So I really would appreciate that. Now let's get into this. I'm going to go to a close-up of the pedal so we can check it out. Okay, now first of all, I'd like to make it clear that the screens on these pedals are clear. They look a bit washed out on the video, but they look great in person. You'll have to take my word for it. Now, on the right, we have the star of the show today, the Boss RC-500. As you can see, we've got record and play, stop, and track select. If we press track select, we get the next track. So you can see the difference between the two. Track 1 is red and track 2 is blue. You have to memorize these things. It really helps your workflow as you go. So red is track 1. Now, these three buttons are fantastic because they can actually be changed to be anything that you want. And there's 99 presets in here, and every preset can be a completely different configuration of those buttons. That is really clever. I love that about this loop pedal. So if you look at the buttons we have on there, we have an input and an input gain meter, a write, which will save our patch, menu to select like global settings, memory for settings per memory or per preset. Everything can be different again, which is really cool. On off for the rhythm. The rhythms are good. There's lots of different rhythms with an A-B variation on each rhythm, and there's fills. I said in the previous video that I came from the RC-10R and prefer this, and I do. There's slightly less rhythms maybe, but the functionality and the way it's laid out for me makes a lot more sense. And actually, even just today, I figured out a workaround of how to get kind of intros and outros on here. And I'll share that with you later on as well. I found that really useful. Then there's a tempo button. I am using MIDI, so that's all synced into my other pedals as well, which is fantastic. And something great about this looper with the tempo, when I just do freeform looping like I did at the start of the video, I can tap in my tempo, any tempo that I want. And it also syncs up with the other pedals. It uses those two mini TRS jacks out the back, which are really cool. And if I have a save loop somewhere in here, like I do on Banks 10 Plus, I have save loops that I've imported using the software from the computer. Those tempos will be sent out to my pedals as well. So I can have both kinds of MIDI clock, which is cool. You can't set it per preset, but the way I've got it set up here, it does work like that. So I'm very happy about that. Then you've got the two sliders. I love them. You can change the volume of each track. I kind of wish I could use my foot. It would be cool if I could somehow use my foot, like if there's one on this side and one on this side, and they were higher up. I don't know, maybe for a next version that could be cool. I haven't really used them because I can just change the volumes in the setting, the edit setting anyway, so I haven't used them. Settings for track 1 and track 2. There's so many settings and they can all be saved again individually for each preset. And that's why I've taken so long with this thing. I've been exploring all the different ways I can set up all of my different loops. The way I use a looper is I do freeform looping just on the guitar, usually acoustic guitar. And I also do save loops. So I import drums on track 1 and bass on track 2. And this can work in serial or parallel mode. So you could have verse on track 1 and chorus on track 2, or drums and bass on track 1, and then the same chord progression on track 2 that brings in an organ or something like that. So you drop parts in and out. So that's really cool. All right, now on the left, This is the fantastic Morningstar MC8. This is a MIDI controller. The great thing about this pedal, the RC-500, is that it's battery powered and you can do all these different things with the 3 buttons, but even 3 buttons on a looper isn't enough. I mean, 2 on the RC-10R was not enough for me. 3 is better. You can use the Boss foot switch, which is one of these, or similar. This will give you 5 buttons. That's good, still not quite enough for what I need. I'm using MIDI, so I've got 8 assignments available. And I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because one of the buttons has 2 assignments to it. So I've got 3 buttons on the looper, 7 buttons on the pedal, and I could use the Boss foot switch as well if I wanted to. That's a lot of buttons, and I don't think you can ever have enough buttons on these things, but that's a lot, and I really love it. Let me show you how I've got this thing set up. The wonderful thing with MIDI is you can set it up however you want to. So I've got record, play, stop, and track select on the unit itself. And then on the MC8, I've got rhythm, start or stop, sounds like this. So what I've done there is I've gone to a drum track and turned off all the drums apart from the kick drum, which gives me just a 4-to-the-floor kick drum for those acoustic singer-songwriter type songs, like Mumford & Sons, that kind of stuff. Next one is all start, all stop. Starts all the tracks, stops all the tracks. That's really useful to me, the way I play. Rhythm variation. If you have a drum kit, it will switch between, say, a hi-hat and a ride cymbal. So you get that variation between the verse and the chorus. And you can also have fills in between if you want as well. So when you hit that button, it plays a fill and then it goes into the next part of the beat or the next pattern. That's really cool. Tap tempo, obviously. You can look on the lights there on the pedal. It taps in the beat. That's really useful. Effects, there's several different effects and you can have a different effect on each patch that you make, which is cool. Again, the RC-10R did not have that. They're a little bit gimmicky, don't overuse them, but they're there and it's cool. You've also got your usual things like reverse and stuff like that. Memory plus and down, of course, you want to go through your presets, especially, look, if you go to 10, I actually have saved patterns here. So here's Brown Eye, that's Brown Eyed Girl, and it's blue, which helps me see that. And then Stuck in the Middle with You is stuck in there. So that's one huge reason I love this over the 10R. The 10R did not have the ability to name your tracks. And if you're using this for backing tracks like this, that is hugely important. Look, check this out. This is everything. So there I had the internal drums and bass and organ, which I'd imported from the computer editor. Quick word about the computer editor. That's one thing I'd like to see improved. It's really, really basic. You plug the USB in the back of the pedal. You can import and export and delete loops. That's it. You can't name the tracks or anything like that. I don't think we need an in-depth editor here for that stuff, but the ability to name tracks would be awesome. You can do it on the unit, as I've done. It's not that hard at all, actually. It's pretty easy. But using the computer is always much faster, right? So that'd be the first thing I'd like to see, the editor get a bit of love on the computer. That's how I've set up my external switch. So this is a very powerful looper now. 2 tracks. Okay, 4 would be nice. People keep talking to me about using Quantaloop and apps like that, where you've got 4 tracks, or things like the Eros looper has 8 tracks, all these tracks. I would like more than 2, but it is a 2-track looper. You have got overdubs. It's okay. For the price of this thing and the form factor, I think it's fine. Of course, 4 tracks would be amazing. Then I would also need more buttons on the Morningstar as well. So that would make that a bit more tricky. No, I think 2 is absolutely fine. I'm coming from a kind of 1-track looper right now with the TC Helicon stuff, the Play Acoustic, coming from a 1-track looper. So this unlimited kind of recording time and 2 tracks for me is a real kind of game changer. Okay, let me give you a demo then. So the way I set it up is when I go to track 1, this is just my basic day-to-day looper. I can just play. Okay, I can just record. The screen is great. It shows me 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So that screen is really, really useful. Yes, it could be slightly larger, but this thing can be run on batteries, and that means that you'll get more battery life, so I get it. Now, let me show you what you can do with that. While I was recording that, the unit actually figured out the tempo. Something to bear in mind, you have to have good timing. Loopers will improve your timing, so over time, your timing will get better. This will be a nicer feature. But what it did is it actually worked out the tempo. So if I now turn on the drums, they should be, or they could be in time. You've got to have good timing. It's not going to correct your timing and work miracles. But check this out. That's the loop. And then if I turn on the drum, isn't that cool? So it wasn't 100% perfect, but that was pretty, I gotta say, that's really impressive. That's a cool feature that it can do that. Now, the other way you could do that, of course, before you play is to just tap in like that, play the beat. Okay, and then of course, you can play to that. This drum sound, this metronome sound, can be in the headphones only, so the audience won't hear it, or you can use it out the front as a drum machine as well. So I could do this now. And now you can turn it off if you want to. Or you can have it turn itself off when the loop actually begins, which is cool. So I can clear that by holding it down. I can also go to track 2 and do another track over there as well. In fact, let me do that right now. Track 2. Okay. So that's a basic way I would use it just as a basic looper, all right? Let me show you the effects I've got saved on this one. There's several effects. My favorite is the vinyl record effect, and it basically does this. It's cool, but don't overuse it. Bring it back again. It's pretty darn cool. All right, now, here's a trick I actually figured out today, because I've been doing all stop, and then I've got to clear it. I don't know how to clear it without using more buttons. What you can do is this. If you don't have the MIDI controller, hold down track select. It goes purple. That means it's now controlling both tracks. So if you press play now, it's going to play both together, not just one of them. Also, if you hold down stop, it will clear both of them. That's huge. That's really, really useful if you haven't got a secondary controller attached. The way I do it with the controller is I go up a preset and back down a preset. That resets everything. I kind of wish you could assign a button to the MIDI controller where when you press it, it basically just does that. It just takes you back to where you were when you opened up your preset. I don't know why it's not there. It was causing me a headache for a while. Maybe it's just me. But when I finish a loop, I just stop everything and just go up and down, 2 presses, and I'm back to the beginning, knowing that nothing is going to be wrong, that everything's gone back to how it should be. Like I said, the way around that is to hold down track select. You've got to hold it down. You've got to hold down stop. You've got to press track select again. That's kind of a long process. I wish there was a way to say press stop and track select at the same time and it just cleared everything. I call it a panic button, just to get you back to where you started. Because when you're on stage, you don't want to be like checking, did I clear that loop? Did I clear that loop? And by the way, the screen does tell you if there's a loop in there. It will be white if there's a loop there. And so I can see visually there's no loop. But when you're on stage, you don't have time to really think, do you? You just want to press 2 buttons and be good. So that's why I've got this set up to go memory up, memory down, boom, I'm back to where I was. I wish I could just hold stop and track, or set it up so when I hold down stop on either track, without going into purple mode, it just resets everything back to how it was when I turned it on. That's my second thing that I'd like to see added. Okay, so sound quality is excellent. Features are excellent. I can't think of any features that are not here. If you go into the menus, which I won't do today because this took me weeks, but download the manual and read it several times. And when you get it, take your time with this pedal. It does everything I want it to do, but I had to really think about it and read the manual because it does so much. The pedal does so many things in this little form factor. And it's not like a touchscreen or anything. They've really had to like put all these like sub menus into each of those buttons. You hold down the button, it gives you a sub menu on the screen, and you can change everything. So in the drum patterns, like I said, you could turn off the crash cymbal. Something I didn't like about the 10R is that this crash cymbal came on every beat after every loop cycle. On this one, you can turn the crash off completely. You can turn off each individual drum completely. There's different drum kits. You can have the fill or not have the fill. Again, all stored per preset. That is awesome. The next question I have, well, the comments I've seen next are about the drums. I think the drums sound good. They sound as good as in the RC-10R. It covers a lot of ground. There's lots of different drum kits and sounds. Yes, they could add more, but I think it does a fantastic job with what's in there. Let me show you something that I figured out just today. This is a way you can actually have intros and outro fills, using the fills on the drums. Turn on all the drums, so you have the crash cymbal, because I want the crash to finish the song, like most drummers would. And then turn on the fills as well. This is what happens. So you get that crash on beat 1, and there's a drum beat. Now you could just start playing. You could do that, right? But that's no fun. I just figured this out. This is really a cool way of doing this. Hit the drum, and immediately hit the variation twice. It will play the fill without going into the variation. Check this out. It didn't change into the variation. And you can also use that for endings as well. While it's playing, so here's your chorus. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it finishes on that crash. I mean, they're not dedicated intros and outros, but I think they'll work absolutely fine. Let me just give you a demo. So you can tap in what you want, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can go into a chorus, right? Now say we come towards the end of the song. So we're going to go. I mean, that's what the comments are for. What do you think of that? I think it's fine. Yeah, you got to think about a couple of things, but it saves you buttons. You haven't got to have a button just for intro, just for outro, just for fill. You can just, like I said, hit that one. It's just muscle memory. I've learned with these loopers, you've got to learn the muscle memory because you have to be fast and things have to just work. That's why it's good to get a looper and stick to it and really learn how that thing works and how to get the best from it. So again, it's just 2 presses. 3 presses. So if I press it twice, and of course press it on beat 1 so you get the whole fill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. And if you had a loop playing, all stop can be told to stop the drums as well. So you just hit all stop instead of stopping the drums. I hope that makes sense. It works for me and I love it. And I could give you a demo of all the drums if you want me to, put in the comments below. I'm happy to do that one day. I don't think I need to. There's loads of patterns, and if there's not a pattern that suits what you do, you can of course store loops, which I've been doing, and I absolutely love this. I'll play you a bit of a song that I've saved. So check this out. This one is part 1. So it's drums and bass, basically. And then when I get to part 2, it's the chorus. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing because I'll try not to get a copyright strike. But basically, I can have verse, drums, bass, or anything I want. And this obviously works best with songs that are very short. Obviously, the four chord songs. Of course they work seriously well because it's just 4 chords. You could have subtle drums and bass behind you, and then it kicks into the chorus with a louder drums and bass and organ and backing vocals stored on here. Basically, rather than using karaoke backing tracks, sorry, karaoke singers, I don't want to do that. I want more of an organic sound. I want it to feel almost like an old drum machine or just a loop. I actually want that repetitive loop sound. I want them to sit behind me while I'm up front because I'm a solo act. I don't want to sound like I'm buried in backing tracks. I want to sound like I have some cool loops behind me to support what I'm doing. And that's why I love using a looper for solo performance. I will definitely do more videos on this in the future of how I set up the looper and the MIDI pedal and my guitar pedal, which is the HX Stomp up there, and my vocals, which is the TC Helicon Voice Live Touch 2 right now, and also, of course, the iOS apps as well. I'll be covering that in future videos. So I was going to say today that there's no intro fills and outro fills. I don't think it matters. I think you can get around it with that little tip. I think that's awesome. So again, I'll scroll down. I love that if there's a loop in there, it's white, so you can see that. And if there's no loop, it goes to blue, so you can see it's a clear memory track. Once again, each of those loop slots here can be set up completely differently. There's one thing that can't be set up differently though, and that's MIDI. MIDI is set up per preset. I wish you could do it globally. I want this memory button, memory up, to be that on every single preset. What I've had to do is store that on preset 1, get preset 1 exactly how I want it, and then save it to all the other memory banks. That's a hassle because you can't do it with the editor. It's not really an editor actually, it's just a way to import file loops and delete loops and back loops up. But of course, if I could have memory plus and minus on every patch, I want on every patch. I don't want it on 3 patches. What happens is you get to patch 3 and then you get to patch 4 and then you're stuck there because you can't get off it because it doesn't know the MIDI command. So I don't understand why the MIDI controls messages are not global or cannot at least be set as global. I want them to be able to be global, definitely. Please add that in the firmware update. Having said that, it's also good that they're per preset because it means that every preset can have different MIDI commands. So don't take that away, boss. I love that. But if you could just make a global set of those as well, for people like me that want them all the same, it will save us loads of time and loads of hassle. So that's one thing I thought of there. Yeah, otherwise, you know, here's my review. This thing has not crashed on me, knock on wood, not glitched out on me, no weird noises, no weird timing thing. It just works. It takes the mic really well. I use that on my live streams. Please tune in one Sunday, 4 p.m. EST. You'll hear me singing through it. Okay, there's no reverb for your guitar or mic or instruments. There's no way to process them, which would be nice because if you're busking and could add some tone and reverb to your voice and your guitar on here, it could be an all-in-one. On the other hand, I think most people are going to run like a Helix or a TC Helicon through it. So I understand why it's not there, but actually the ability to put reverb on your voice and guitar and basic EQ would allow this to be a true all-in-one device for buskers. So I think Boss should add that as well. That would be a really nice thing to add. I wouldn't use it, but it'd be a nice thing to have in there. So that's kind of it. I want to say this new board that I've built, and you can't see it all today, but there's 4 pedals here. I've never had so much fun. I can have drums, loops with bass, vocal effects. I play with these in-ears. They're fantastic. I feel like I'm playing in a band. I'm sitting in my studio silently, apart from obviously the natural sound of my voice and guitar, playing like I'm in a rock band. And I cannot encourage you highly enough to do this. Get yourself a looper. I want to say the iOS apps like Quantaloop are fantastic, but there's something about this, but there's still something really instantly accessible and fun and practical about the real pedals. Yes, this pedal could have a touch screen. Yes, it could have access to iOS apps and features like Quantaloop has. Quantaloop's amazing. Quantaloop's pitch algorithm and time stretching is fantastic. On here, I wouldn't use it. It kind of works. It doesn't sound that good. I think Boss should try to update the pitch algorithms and time algorithms in here. So for example, you could record your guitar. I'll just show you. You could record the guitar. And then you could speed it up. It's okay. And You'd probably only speed it up slightly, but it starts to get warbly. You can hear it. That works really well on the Quantaloop app. I'd like to see that updated too. But my point is there's still something immediate and reliable about the physical pedals. I put the board down, I power it up, and I play. And I've had so much fun. I can't stress that enough. I've had so much fun with this looper and this board. The Morningstar is fantastic. The looper is fantastic. Everything here is fantastic. I'm enjoying my playing again. I'm enjoying practicing. And practicing to a drum machine in this looper is so beneficial for my timing, and it'll be beneficial for your timing as well. And also listening back to yourself is so beneficial as a practice tool. So this thing is fun and practical. I absolutely love it. That kind of brings me to the end. I haven't been through every feature. I apologize. I didn't want this video to be hours and hours long. I can do more on it. This pedal is staying on the board. This video is not sponsored by Boss. I bought the pedal myself and I'm happy with every cent that I spent on it. Yes, they could make it even better, and I really hope they do. We live in an age now where we expect firmware updates and they can really make our purchases even better, but it's refreshing to get something that works really solidly out of the box. I mean, most Boss stuff does, right? But I do hope they continue to update it into the future as well. I absolutely love it. I have affiliate links with Reverb, Amazon, and Sweetwater. I'll put them below. If you would consider using them to make a purchase on something like this, it really helps me out. Actually, you can purchase anything through those links and it will help me out at no cost to you. I really would appreciate it. Also, check out the Morningstar stuff. They make a 3, 6, and 8 button controller, and it's really great. It's really easy to use. I know people are going to ask me how I set it up, so I'm going to show you now quickly at the end of this video how to set up the MIDI. Let's go to the computer. Okay, so this is the Morningstar editor. And I can show you if I connect here. It really is very simple. If I press on my Rhythm Start Play button, you can see that I've got a press, which is a control change, 127. It's CC number 4. So I've assigned 4 to be this command on the pedal. You have to do that on the pedal, each preset, remember. And then MIDI channel 9 is this particular pedal, and there's how you set it up. 127 and 1, that's on and off. So that's how you start that. All start is here. That started everything, as you can hear. Okay, so rhythm start stop is CC number 4, 127. And then all start, all stop simply just goes to a different CC number. Same thing, so you can just copy and paste that onto the next button on the Morningstar editor. Rhythm variation. Now, as these numbers are changing, you see what's happening is I've programmed that into the RC-500. So you've got to go into the RC-500 and program it there as well. Here's my tap tempo. That's number 1. Here's memory down. Here's memory up. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the pedal and show you how that's set up quickly as well, because I just know people are going to ask me how to do this, and it really is helpful to see it, I think. It took me a while to figure this out. So that's how you do all that. Okay, quickly on the pedal. So like I said, I'll go to memory, assign 1. So there's 8 assigned, so this is assign 1. I've turned it on, of course. CC1. It's momentary. Target tap tempo. So it's going to control the tap tempo. And you can select anything you want. Minimum is off there. Max is off. And that's it. So assign 1 is tap tempo. That's how it's set on there. And then I've set it on the editor screen that I showed you before. And I've done that for each of the assignments. So number 2 is on. CC number 2. So I've kept it in line. So 1 is 1, 2 is 2. Target is memory increase. And that's it. So that button increases the memory, and it's talking to it with those 2 cables from Boss. I recommend those. I tried some from Amazon. They didn't work too well. Get the 2 Boss MIDI cables, the official cables, and the Boss foot switch. Unless you need something smaller, it all works flawlessly. So I hope that was useful. Again, I'm sorry for the off for so long. I haven't even touched the surface of this thing. I just wanted to let you know. I love the pedal. I'm using it every week on my live streams. It's working great. It's inspiring me to play. It's a lot of fun. There's only a few things I would even want to improve on this, and they're very, very minor things. I think it's great value for money. It's built like a tank, of course. One quick thing. The outputs are unbalanced. I wish the outputs could be balanced as well. So I could use a jack, TRS jack to an XLR cable to go straight into the PA. I might want to add a DI box to this board for that reason, and they could have saved me that hassle by putting balanced outputs on the pedal. But these are, again, minor things. The pedal works great. I absolutely love it. I'll do more videos about the entire board, about the solo board, coming up soon. But if you give me any good questions in the comments below, I will make another video on this, kind of a follow-up part 2 to this video to answer those questions. So I hope this was useful. I think you're going to love it. If you bought one, let me know in the comments below. So do be well, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.